Now, $1 million question for you. A few days ago on the New York Times, the headline said, Sopranos tops drama contenders for the Emmys, received 15 Emmy nominations, including the Best Dramatic Series, and for performance by James Gandolfini, Eddie Falco, and 3 other principal members. There's no doubt this TV series is probably one of the biggest success of the television history in the USA. But what we would like to ask you is, why do Italian Americans have a love-hate relationship with The Sopranos?
Well, I think The Sopranos is the end of the line. You can't do anything more with the gangster in the United States. It's the ultimate end. And one of the things it does is it gives Italian Americans something that they can relate to on TV on the one hand. On the other hand, it's something that is very negative in the sense that the gangster may be a negative figure. However, I see the whole experience as a very positive experience if you don't take The Sopranos literally. Remember that The Sopranos is fiction. Somebody made it up. They made it up to tell a story. And the story, by definition, needs stereotypes. I mean, nobody gets mad and tries to protest the big bad wolf. The big bad wolf is always going to be the figure in the fairy tales that's going to show danger. And The Sopranos does that. But they also give us this kind of sense of excitement about living life on an edge, and that's exactly what Aristotle says we need through catharsis. You know, we can live illegally through The Sopranos. We could live royally through The Sopranos. And unfortunately, the idea of the mafia has been such an overworked, overused way of telling story that we haven't. It's like the tree that grew that in the forest that killed all the other little trees. In the meantime, other little trees are living. So we will have this post-mafia. Once the leaves of The Sopranos is gone and the mafia is gone, these other stories will begin to thrive. And we're beginning to get them. Ironically, we're beginning to get them in Italy, where we have the book Pane e Mare, where we have the book Vita. All these beautiful stories of Italians immigrating to the United States, which should have happened with the work of Pietro Di Donato, Christ in Concrete, for example, which was the best seller of the 1939. Why did that make it into oblivion, whereas 1939, Grapes of Wrath, made it into every high school reading list? I think times have changed, and I think we are going to enter into this kind of post-mafia sense of Risorgimento of Italian-American culture.
It seems that much of the talking about Italian Americans and the Italian Americans community concerns always with stereotypes. Do you think that these stereotypes are changing? Or?
I think the stereotypes will always be there, as long as somebody needs to be able to tell a story. I mean, we always had the story of the idiot, the story of the crazy person, the story of the beautiful girl who got in trouble, the putana, all these. These were stories told in order to educate. I mean, you can go back and look at the whole sense of oral tradition. Whenever you need to have a story, you'll have the stereotype. The question is, do you believe the stereotype is real? In other words, it's one thing to get the message of the story, but do you think that when they talk about Italians, every Italian's in the mafia? What we have to do is we have to educate, not the storytellers, we have to educate the audience. And the way you do that is through schools. I mean, the way you find out that an Italian is not a gangster is by meeting an Italian. And you may have that trepidation at first. The same way when you meet a black person on the street, you may think he's a thug, a black guy. Or you may think that a Middle Eastern guy is in these days you may think he's a terrorist. When you get to meet the people and sit down and eat with them and see them over a period of time, that's how you break down these ideas. But it's got to be something that is done through an educational vehicle as opposed through a dramatic vehicle. Certainly it would help. I mean, it would have helped if we would have had Christ in Concrete become a movie made by Frank Capra back in the 1950s, because it would have changed the way The Godfather was accepted. And when The Godfather came out, it was as if this is the first time we've ever seen Italian-American culture. So I think the stereotypes are going to stay there, but they're going to be put in their place, their useful place in storytelling, and not in analyzing reality.